Welcome everyone to another EOS Talk Open Agenda Hangout. Today is Saturday, July 28th, 2018. And I am Official Fuzzy. I will be moderating the discussion. Let's go ahead and mute that guy right there while I'm doing the intro. Let's rewind real quick. As always, I will start with talking about a couple things that we have made staples of our community. And we'll open it up for Power Picks to give an update for the community initiatives and all the good things that are going on there in our community right now. And then we're going to discuss some cool things with somebody tonight who's joining up as a guest speaker from the Waba.Network. That is going to be Marina, and she is kindly joining up to discuss complementary currencies and some of the intent of and actual projects that are currently out that the Waba.Network is working on right now. So I don't want to give too much away, but I do want to thank her for joining up tonight. And I want to thank, as always, everybody who joins up to these Hangouts live and joins them or listens to them after the fact or shares them. Those of you who are participating in these events and RSVPing every week or you're sharing the content, that's how we get the message out. And I can already see a lot of the people who are creating content out there are starting to mimic things that are important that we've been covering every time. Things like Blocktivity, where if you go and you look at it, you can see they actually cover the actual state of the blockchain technology's value with metrics that make sense. Mainly, how many transactions, operations are occurring on them per day, how scalable they are, how much network capacity is being used. Right, we have been at the forefront with Beyond Bitcoin and these hangouts, both in BitShares and now in EOS, of being there with the fastest, most scalable cryptocurrencies in the world, because we've known that this day was going to come. And now that we're here, we're starting to see use cases that are going to make sense. So I really want to thank everybody here who's making this possible. And I would like to also talk about, if we can go through our forum real quick and just show everybody the forum. And I'll discuss that just a little bit, maybe get into price action just slightly too. So we've got the forums here. They are currently based on Steam as an MVP, but they're going to move chain, and it will be a mutual aid society chain just for forums, the Pirate Bay of EOS. And it's going to be kind of a little pirate chain that's going to be share dropped on EOS and EOS bits holders. Those of you who have earned a bunch of EOS bits, we're going to be share dropping on them. Initially, we thought we were going to go with the bandwidth model, but seeing as bandwidth is kind of interesting right now, I figured it was something that we could do that would be important to people who've been doing valuable things for the EOS ecosystem, especially in places that might not always have been most benevolent toward it. Those of you guys who've persisted and been part of it, I just want to let all of you guys know thank you. We will be share dropping on you if you're holding the EOS bits. If you're also holding EOS, you're going to get share dropped as well. We're not doing an ICO. We're not funds. I've been lucky, so we're going to do this, and I urge all of you guys to direct this as trying to make it a side chain and potentially even a decentralized block producer. We'll discuss that in the future, but for now, these forums exist right now on a blockchain, on a delegated proof of stake blockchain, and the importance of that cannot be lost on anybody here. If anybody ever says that we're working with vaporware or that their cryptocurrencies are better than ours, go ask if their technology enables this. As you're going and you're looking at forums and you're looking at people posting on them, you're watching people getting rewarded tokens for doing initiatives on them. All of these things are only made possible because of the technology that we have available and that a lot of the cryptocurrency industry is ignoring. Now, if we can go real quick into Blocktivity so I can step up on my soapbox a little bit stronger tonight before moving on to Power Picks. Okay, so if you guys look at Blocktivity.info, EOS right now has surpassed BitShares in operations. It's a pretty interesting place, but if you look at both of them, very small percentages of the network are being used, right? Number one is EOS. Number two is BitShares. Number three is Steam. As you go down further, at approximately what, 0.4%? No, about 0.5% of the transactions per day. At number four is Ethereum. If you look at the CUI, the Capacity Utilization Index, it is 12,423 unconfirmed transactions. So those are, it's 100% blockchain capacity is being utilized right now. This is the essence of why we discussed in the very beginning, and actually had Dan tell us to be nice, but we were doing, when we were doing the meme competition, we did that for a reason, because CryptoKitties exemplified what we've been talking about here for the entire time that we've been leading up to this. Look down at Bitcoin, 188,000, right? You guys see a trend here. If you look at the market caps, however, there's a significant difference, right? And I'm not going to tell you to buy anything, but what I will say is, why would you hold a cryptocurrency, or primarily hold a cryptocurrency, that doesn't scale to those levels? We're now at the very point where EOS has not been around for very long, and it's already at almost 5.6 million operations per day. So that's pretty heavy today. And I just want to let you guys all know, Blocktivity.info is going to be open sourcing all of this. So if you want spreading this information that we've been telling you about since the beginning, you're going to be able to leverage it to help yourself, help your project, help EOS, BitShares, and delegated proof of stake in general. Okay. So with that said, I'd like to open it up real quick. PowerPix, would you be willing to give your update on the community initiatives for the week?
Yeah, sure. We'll start with, we have an ongoing tokens for tweets, which was an initiative for us to go and try to grab the people from High Fidelity to pull them into an EOSTalk. So we still have that kind of EOSTalk challenge, that bounty up. And all you have to do is head over to Official Fuzzy's blog over on EOSTalk.io, and you'll find the post for the tokens for tweets. And it's really simple. You just kind of copy the pre-written text and links and tweet it, along with a picture. There's a little graphic that we made for it. So all you have to do is send that stuff along and post that as a reply, and you'll get rewarded for helping us try to pull them in. We've had some success so far. They have gotten back to us preliminary. They haven't totally confirmed yet that they're coming in, but we've definitely been noticed. They've made comments about it in the telegrams. People they're kind of like scouting us now, saying like, who are these people from EOSTalk that are trying to get us on? So we have been recognized. So the effort is definitely worthwhile. So we got to thank everyone for that. Now the other challenge we have going on that just started the other day, this is on Thursday, is another tokens for tweets. Now this one is related to the launch of the Whale Shares blockchain. This is our other community that we're running that supports the Whale Shares community and the BitShares community. It's its own chain. And we basically have an announcement out of the share drop and launch dates. And this tokens for tweet is basically to get the word out about the website. We're now 1 month away. The website will officially launch, the chain, the platform will launch on September 1st. We'll have a pre-launch period starting on the 15th. And we just want to get that word out there. So again, swing by the post on Fuzzy's blog, just grab the text and the links and the graphic and tweet it out there, and then just give a reply showing that you did tweet it, and you'll be rewarded for this. This is in Beyond Bits for this challenge. And of course, if you're interested, swing by. We have our new Discord and Telegram groups open for Whale Shares, so come on by and join the community. We'll be adding a whole lot more initiatives, contests, challenges, fun fan art stuff all kind of going around the launch of the WellShares chain in the next couple of weeks. So, swing by and you all can participate.
And to make it clear, just for everybody who doesn't understand or doesn't know this, BitShares gets a bad rap. BitShares is amazing. It's the longest chain in the world right now, and we use those tokens on BitShares to create cross-chain synergy, and have been doing this and rewarding people who spread this message to help EOS. So I want to just show people how we're leveraging these things today across chains, create value, using the BitShares chain to help support EOS, and actually using the Steam chain to show off the initial version of the forums that we wanted to produce for everybody. And we're going to also share drop it on EOS. So these things are going to be very powerful. And the WhaleShares chain is going to be share dropped on BitShares and WhaleShares holders. So if you guys have earned WhaleShares in the initiatives, you're going to be holding tokens or being able to claim tokens on that WhaleShares platform, where you can share value freely and you can share content freely. So that's where we're moving right now on those things. And yes, it's I will say, as far as the high fidelity Zerg, PowerPix, what is your testament to how effective these things are at getting people's attention?
Well, let me tell you, for that one, it was literally it was probably 5 hours or so before they actually, I got a reply back on their Twitter feed probably within 20 minutes or so of me posting to their Twitter feed myself, and that kind of kicked it off, where everyone was able to see what I did for that tweet and then follow behind and do the same thing, to get that whole Zerg rush going. And that initial response was, hey, maybe email us and talk to us. So I immediately emailed them as well. But within a couple hours of that, on their Telegram group, all the kind of admins and the people in charge of the project were now asking the community, who are these EOSTalk people? We got so many requests to come on the show, and we just want to make sure who they are. So it was really effective, and it happened fast, for them to actually, reach out to us and try to ask who we are, and then, hopefully we'll be able to make some plans and get them on now.
Well, yeah, I will say that this is one of those things that it leads me up to where we're going to be talking about the Waba.Network tonight, and complementary currencies, and the ability for individuals to come together, mutually decide upon a payment of choice that doesn't necessarily have to empower the Iron Bank. I always say the Iron Bank because everybody understands what Game of Thrones is and what the Iron Bank does, and it's pretty damn close to the Federal Reserve. So it makes it so we can create value between one another, and we represent the locus, the point where value emerges. And if we back that by humans and our interactions, and we mutually accept certain currencies and certain versions of payment, we can do so and route around cancerous regimes that do exist within the world, and some of which might say have been taken over in some of the larger countries in the world. So with that said, that's one of the reasons why all of us crazy, disruptive, but benevolent nerds and trying to be kind nerds are trying to disrupt things with a lot of innovation. And this is, I think, where we are. And I want to just say thank you guys, because I was stunned to watch High Fidelity get notice this so quickly, because any of you guys who have reached out to people to bring them on for a show, you will find that it is very hard oftentimes to get their attention, especially if they're people who are very busy or are on big projects, because they get many emails per day. But whenever you can get a bunch of people messaging them on all kinds of different platforms, you can essentially enable that person to see at least one of them. And once they might see one, but once they see the second one, and then they see the third one, what begins to happen? They start thinking, well, basically, you guys are marketing us to them. It's targeted marketing to them. So that's exactly what PowerPix is helping me with every week, and you guys are all helping us with it too. So it's going to happen that we're going to get some cool things going, and we're going to continue to bring various initiatives like these to you guys. So with that said, I don't want to hold off any longer from the guest, because this is exactly what I would be talking about with her, because that's exactly what they're interested in too. So Marina, I don't want to hold off. I would love if you would tell everybody hello, and then we can maybe go into a quick intro from you, of yourself and the Waba project, the Waba.Network project, and then maybe go into the philosophy and some of the goals. And maybe you can talk about some of these cool use cases that you guys already have. And of course, we'll probably ask you about the share drop. And if you don't mind, maybe a little bit of a community questions and answer session. So I know that that's a lot of stuff I'm asking for, but I think that this is a real important thing. And I think that we have a lot to talk about tonight.
Sure thing. Thank you very much for having us here, Official Fuzzy. And thank you everyone for being here interested in this amazing topic, complementary currencies. A little bit of an intro. So I'm the co-CEO of Waba.Network. I've been with this project for almost 1 year now. And we've been making huge progress in terms of use cases, community building, and learning how to make all this happen on EOS. So far, we have our use cases on BitShares, and this use cases is what I will be talking now about, because they have a reason. They were motivated by our passion for a social change, for enabling communities that have a lot of value, as you were mentioning before, to get rid of the traditional financial or economic systems that don't allow these communities to achieve certain goals. So the first use case that we developed is called Moneda Par, which stands for PR coin in Spanish. I will write it down here in the chat. So Moneda Par, what does is to provide a community that still has their know-how, they have their people, they have their working power available to produce, but they may lack of either cash or reasonable access to credit. For example, here in Argentina, this project was born in the context of an economic crisis, as we are used to, and many SMEs and cooperatives had access to credits for a 150% interest rate, which turned their business crazy, of course. So this group of people agreed on a new form of money, a new form of currency, and we provided the technology for this community to help them keep their economic activity going, help them still making their economic transactions, to be able to trade with each other, to be able to provide either their services or products through this new currency that works in a mutual credit system kind of monetary system. So this was the first use case that is being used by 160 different cooperatives and SMEs since May 2017 in Argentina, in 4 and soon 5 different cities in the country. And these people are being able to still trade and provide their services and products to other people in a percentage, in exchange, I mean, of a percentage paid in this currency, Moneda Par, and the rest of the price is paid in the legal tender. But with this new vehicle, people are able to sell more and are able to access to better conditions of credit. So a mutual credit system looks for all accounts to tend to zero. That's the way it works. And the collateral of this currency is your own work, your own products. It's not being backed up by any other currency. So that's the first use case. And I will be glad to answer questions lately, or maybe either here or in our Telegram channel. Maybe I can talk a little bit about the second use case that shows the scope of our project. which enables communities to create their own currencies. So one type of this new currency is a mutual credit system. But a second one could be, for example, this phenomenon, I guess, happens in many large cities across the globe, and not only large, but any kind of cities across the globe, where you have Walmart coming in, and suddenly the entire local economy starts to just, the economic activity of the local shops just start to diminishing. So the local shops start not to be able to compete anymore against the large retail companies as Walmart could be. So what they do is either close or count on Groupon kind of business models, where there's an intermediary that takes part of the profit, takes part of this discount, and brings it automatically out of the city. For example, here in Argentina, it's a very well-known system to get discounts and to be able to sell your products as a commercial, as a local shop. But then the profit goes directly to Miami, Florida. I guess that's where Groupon is settled. I don't remember right now, but I think that's the case. But definitely out of the country. But what if all the local shops came together and together decided to design a currency that would virtually put money in their customers' pockets? So what if this discount would be issued by the local shops themselves, instead of issuing a discount accepting a discount issued by someone else? You are the one issuing this discount. And this new monetary system, what does, instead of boosting production as the mutual credit one, this new monetary system would boost consumption. You would motivate customers to shop local by putting virtual money in their pockets. So this monetary system is called a multilateral loyalty program. It is not like Starbucks rewards, where you can only spend your points or whatever in Starbucks, but at any other local shop that belongs to the community. So this is the second example of our use case, which is called Discoin. I will write it down here. There you are. Thank you, Chucky Fucky. And it is also, so it's in beta testing right now. It will also be running on BitShares. It has been developed on BitShares, and it will be migrated to EOS close to the end of the year, where our MVP will also be there. So the entire idea of the Waba.Network is to make this scalable and to be able to provide this new way of creating money to many kinds of communities. We don't want to do any customized, or our business is not built around doing customized developments for any community, but to provide a platform where any community with no knowledge on either economics or blockchain development can create their own assets on EOS. So you will find yourself with a do-it-yourself format, platform, where you can choose among 7 different preset monetary systems. You will find mutual credit, multilateral loyalty programs. You will also find municipal currencies, circular economy circuits, renewable energy currencies, commercial credit circuits, and time banking. I guess I said the 7 of them. And then, so this is not the only important thing for you to design your own monetary system, but also you need to be able to make decisions of your currency. This is key for your community. As a local shops community, you may not want to rely on someone else's decision or government. You also need to be able to make your own decisions, and therefore we are going to offer 5 different preset governing systems. You will find a monarchy or autocracy. You will also find aristocracy, and then 3 different forms of democracy: a representative government, a direct democracy, or liquid democracy. So those will be the main preset or the basic presets that you will find in the platform, and you will get your wallet and your market. And if your community decides it can become open and it could trade among the different other communities with their different assets. So that's what we are proposing with our soft cap in our white paper. I can further discuss on the tokenomics.
Yeah, the first one, Filecoin here, is saying, what is the use of the Waba token? So,
Excellent.
of course, there's another question by PowerPix, but I'll hold off on that.
Great. Yep. So the WNT, the Waba.Network token, will allow you to, first of all, access to the platform to create your own asset, but it will motivate all the current developers or architects around the globe contributing to different and segregated communities with their community currencies development. It will align the interests of these people, because if you contribute with either code or architecture to the platform, you may say, okay, this multi-credit system is lacking of this feature, or why don't you create this new monetary system for the gaming communities? And if you created that, and as long as communities use what you created, either in code or architecture, you will earn WNT. And if, of course, if you hold it, you will get the right to vote on the DAO that Waba.Network is aiming to become.
Okay, and there's one question EOS Phoenix has. Has the Waba team thought about how to address token price volatility for the community token?
How to address token price volatility. So these first tokens that we designed for these communities are not being exchanged in any market. I mean, they are not listed in an exchange. That could happen because each community will be independent and can make their own decisions, but that has not happened so far. And in terms of volatility, so in both cases, MonedaPad and this coin, they are paired 1-to-1 with the legal tender. So in the case of the mutual credit system, this has a special function. We need people to spend their MonedaPad. We need people to foster economic transactions. We don't want them to hold the currency because we don't want it to be a store of value. So as long as we pair 1-to-1 the legal tender to the MonedaPad in Argentina, we are fostering people to spend it because our currency today has a 40% interest rate. So if you hold it, you're losing. You need to spend it. So that's one reason why we are pairing it 1-to-1 with the legal tender, and also that we are addressing volatility. But that happened because it was we did do a customized development for this community. And this was our decision together with the community. If the community decides to address volatility in a different way or not to address it at all, that's a completely independent decision of the community. Timurash, correct.
If you don't mind, this is one of those things that I really love to just jump in on, because I think that the point of opening up these things is you're having a template, which is actually very much in line with how I think on all of this stuff so far, which makes me giddy, Chucky. Because you introduced me to these people. I want to make it clear. You introduced me to the Waba.Network. And Marina here is talking about some really important things with this stuff. Like these tokenization models, it isn't really necessarily the templates themselves that are the most important, though it shows and kind of gives people a guidepost. I think you guys are getting ready for and pumped up about probably too, and tell me, of course, if I'm wrong, but I don't think I am, is that people are going to come up with their own systems, and we're going to see which ones work really well and which ones fail and don't work very well. So I think the power of these things.
So I think what, sorry?
Did you say correct?
Yeah, I said correct, that we will see which are the systems that actually work and are of value to the communities. And those people designing those systems will be the ones rewarded with the token because what they built was useful.
And I think another interesting thing is that models that are not efficient or effective will cease to exist or will need to change. And they'll have plenty of options to change if they see other things are doing better and align similarly with their philosophies. I think there's a lot of value that's there.
Yeah, that's absolutely correct. And also we are allowing the communities to change throughout their way from different monetary systems that they could have chosen in the beginning, and also different governance systems. So if you chose a mutual credit system with an aristocracy because you wanted to make the decisions together with the other three first SMEs that joined the community, but then you said, okay, we need this to be open, and we need the rest of the people making decisions, you may want to switch to either liquid democracy or whatever suits you better, but to a more democratic way of making decisions.
Yeah, I think it's going to be cool to see it in the free market, and then also see how they stand up in the free market, and also knowing that it's all on a blockchain where history is a little bit more difficult to perhaps go against and lie against. Right? It's right there. You can't really propagandize your way out of it. So it'll be very interesting to see these experiments and these different coins. But one of them that I thought was really cool too was the jelly coin idea, and the concept of enabling communities and incentivizing communities to recycle and basically create value from their trash, right?
Exactly. Yeah,
Would you be able to give some insight onto that? Because I think these are the types of disruptions that I always tell people gamers are going to fix the world, because they see everything as a problem, every problem to be solved as a game to be won. And this is one of those examples. So I'll shut up, Marina, because I'm kind of pumped up right now, and I'll let you talk.
Sure. So yeah, what Jellycoin does is to look for a more realistic and fair way to foster recycling. So citizens in this city, northern Argentina, have no incentive to sort their waste. If they don't do anything, nothing will happen to them, and it will be the municipality, the one always paying for burying those potential assets to build something out of it. So what the municipality could do is a smart choice of paying their citizens, not with the legal tender, but to a currency that could only be spent in the way that the municipality wants it to be spent, namely paying your taxes or spending at this particular local shops to foster local economy and build on local assets. So what is happening with the Jellycoin is that this municipality is giving out tokens to these people in northern Argentina that sort their waste. They bring their waste to certain places where they are paid with this token depending on the weight of their wastes, and they can later spend these tokens by paying part of their taxes with it. So this is a closed economy created by an autocracy, because it's the municipality, the only one making decisions here and saying where is that you can spend these tokens. And it really fosters circular economy, because people now have a real incentive and are doing two good things. They are paying their taxes, which is not as usual as in other developed countries, and they are also sorting their waste, which is also something good to do, and it's not that common as in other developed countries.
Yeah, it's funny because I was having a discussion about something very similar, and it was a discussion about how people say, there's this underlying trend at times that I'm sure you guys are aware of, that humans are like the worst parasites on the earth. Just create all this trash and stuff, and it's like, really, no, that's not the truth. We build a lot of value, we just don't have all the incentives aligned. You know what I mean? We don't have all those systems more efficient than they need to be, like, right? We don't have the efficiencies that we need, the tools yet that we need, but we're working on tools like that. And I think it's cool that you can have this type of stuff, like where you can pay taxes based on the weight of your trash. I'm assuming there's probably a statistical model that you can draw from that, where everybody's trash is composed percentage-wise of certain things of value, and from that you can kind of take the sum of all people in the data set and all their trash and say they're generally going to have this much value in their trash for us, and actually put that towards something of value.
Correct. Yeah, and that's it's just a matter of maths. It's not either goodwill or good citizens. It's like if you are the municipality and you're paying for bearing something that has a price as opposed to a cost, or you will pay this environmentally speaking in either 5, 10, or 20 years. So you just do the numbers, and this is something that works. This is something that is worth it developing, and you need to use the technology for doing these kinds of things. And it's as you said, it's not that we are parasites, but the entire system is pushing you towards doing something that is not okay for the entire planet. You just need to figure something out to make the effort worth it, and to make the circuit work. So if you're paying your taxes because you're sorting waste, you're contributing in the exactly same way.
Yeah, it's like playing a video game, and they have the system is broken, and you can game it and cheat it, or it makes it less fun for everybody in the game, and it just causes a spiraling effect. And it's the same kind of thing. All we have to do is kind of, I think, reframe it, and that's what you guys are doing, which is really cool. And I wanted to kind of touch upon that for the jelly coin, especially because I thought that was someplace that really hits the ground. And of course, then the local businesses that do this, like we've seen some of these complementary currencies, like you said, that didn't exist on the blockchain, right? There are many of them that exist that are literally, paper notes around the world at various locations, right? And there are similar systems. There are some that sell their time and things like that too, right? But they didn't have a universal ledger that was quite as easily maintained, that was as redundant as perhaps as the blockchain ecosystem can provide. So whereas we had triple entry accounting and things like that, this is like that on steroids, right? So it's kind of interesting how we go back into a very similar pattern that we've fallen into throughout history, because complementary currencies became really big during the Great Depression, especially, right? And now we're in another time of economic upheaval. All these fiat currencies have lost large percentages of their value, have printed exponentially now. And what are we seeing? You guys, other people who are around the world, computer nerds, coming up with templates and tools to create your own cryptocurrency-based complementary currency. And whenever you have communities and businesses that back it, and like you were saying, giving if I can go to a local ice cream shop or pizza shop and get 20% off because I use the local currency, and I'm not, now we're bringing it back, the power back to it's the people of the community, right? And I think it's great because you guys, where you are working on this, is really, these are the places where it's needed most, right? Banking in a box, so to speak.
Exactly. Yeah. I absolutely agree.
Would you guys say that that's kind of one of the reasons why this has become a big passion of yours?
Yeah, definitely. And also here in Argentina, we have a great history of complementary currencies. I mean, we went through so many economic crises and all these new kinds of money, and we have this worldwide well-known border example during the late 90s and early 2000. We had this huge network where 6 million people lived out of a border, and it was a very successful example, despite the fact that, of course, someday corruption comes and nobody will be able to tell you who issued this much money and where it went to, right? So we are not actually inventing anything. We did not come up with this monetary systems out of anywhere. We just found that blockchain today is the opportunity to make the systems be more powerful than ever in our history. And we are able to build local economies. And today blockchain is able to prevent any kind of corruption and the end of the story of many good cases.
Hi, Marina. Can you talk about the early distribution period, or is that over already?
We are in pre-sale stages right now. The distribution period will start in November. We still need to define the date. We are planning it to be for 15 days, although we may change that depending on the market. Yeah, it will be November. Yeah, I know it's short.
Excellent. Where's the best place to stay up to date on that information?
We shared a couple links to our social media, so I think that Twitter will be a good place to be tuned at. In any case, in the bottom part of our website, you will definitely see this in our website, but if you wanted to just follow us in social media, you have all our social media links at the bottom of our website, Waba.Network. Telegram, yeah, you're right, of course. It will also be there.
Okay, and you guys are going to be share dropping, correct? If I read
we will.
Correct.
Yep, we will. We are planning a 15% of tokens airdrop to those EOS holders that contribute to the complementary currencies ecosystem.
And how do you contribute to the ecosystem?
So the big picture is the tokenomics that I mentioned before. So as long as you contribute either with architecture or code to the systems, you will be rewarded. But the specific mechanism for EOS holders, we are still defining that and will be ready in future versions of our white paper. We have not specified that specifically in our white paper yet.
You know, a thought might be to let people lend you guys bandwidth and stuff for whenever the leasing comes out. Maybe that can come into play. But I'll talk to you guys sometime about all those things if you're interested. I think that those are ways that you could potentially monetize, like let people buy in with their bandwidth essentially and get extra or share dropped on them and things like that, so you don't have to worry about spending all that stuff yourself. Just things like that. But for those people who have 200 EOS, are they going to get a share drop potentially, do you think?
I would not be ready to answer that, but we can talk about that later.
Cool. And let me ask you, have there been any currencies that you've seen or any models that you've seen that you would personally stay away from building on the Waba.Network?
So let me see if I understood it correctly. If I saw any communities that we would not like to be working on the Waba.Network?
Any models that you've seen that you guys think that people should be careful of, like that might be difficult or might be dangerous or anything like that? Have you guys thought of any of those types of things?
Yeah, we did, but we are not specifying that in our white paper yet. So we are thinking of some models that could not be beneficial for the communities there. Still, we are enabling communities to be closed if they wanted to do so. So let's say, for example, that you have the local shops community working with their own currency, and then there's another currency created by some large some large retail companies, or a large retail company in the area is involved in certain currency that is also operating on the Waba.Network. So the first community, the local shops community, could do two different things: either deciding to stay close and not trading with other currencies, which will not be the smartest option to choose, or to decide on a model or a scheme where emission and the different variables that the monetary system entails would always benefit local shops as opposed to the other members of the other community, I mean. So either you design a circuit through which you are always protected against certain behaviors of the other community, or you chose to stay closed. We are just giving that option, giving that freedom to communities to decide upon the way they want to work. So we will never be able to predict which models that could be seen as beneficial today could become not that good in the future for the platform. That could absolutely happen, and nobody could control that. But you could be able to decide or to make the mechanisms for your community to not be harmed by that other model.
So essentially cut them off from trade with you. Or for kind of like
you could be able to do that. I mean, that would be censorship, but the community has the right to do that if they want.
Which I think it's very good to offer that ability if it needed, because this whole concept of voluntary association is what I personally love. And you can probably tell actually by how we model these, where people voluntarily associate and work with one another, that you don't need to force it. But if there are relationships or organizations that are dangerous or malevolent rather, towards yours, then it's nice to have that power to essentially block them. And it doesn't have to be, a punishment. That's punishment enough. Just you're not going to be able to interact with us. Right, but obviously that's not the best for an ecosystem. If that's what what a community does everywhere, they should never shut off. And that's what I love to see. I think it's going to be very interesting as we see these different communities move back and forth together, create different options for us. So, quick, let me ask you one more question, if you don't mind. And I think MS Cavs fan actually has a question before I go into mine. Did the local shops pay the local city with crypto for sales tax? That's a dang good question.
We would love to see that. Hopefully that will become something needed and accepted by the municipalities.
Have you guys discussed, and this is another interesting thing for me, which would be, have you guys discussed the concept of being able to be a citizen of multiple different ecosystems? With different laws and all that good stuff. Like myself, I can potentially be a citizen of all these different communities. And
sure thing.
Align with me, and I don't have to be part of them myself. Just kind of like, the communities don't have to connect with one another. Can you talk a little bit about what you guys think about that?
So the communities trading with each other, or you hold different tokens, you being part of different communities?
That one.
Yeah, sure thing. So we definitely see a future where you are using a number of different complementary currencies because you belong to different communities, and each of those communities have completely different purposes that cannot be achieved with the same money as we are trying to do today. Well, even today, you are using different complementary currencies. Even if you didn't hold crypto, for example, you use your public transportation card, where you can only hold legal tender for spending it in public transportation, or you use your airline miles, right? And Starbucks rewards and all those points that you get when you spend your money at different large retail companies. So you're already managing a number of complementary currencies, and we see a future where you will be holding a larger number of them, but for purposes that you are also looking to see achieved, because you naturally belong to different communities.
Yeah. What would be a sector that you are very interested in seeing people playing around in with these? Is there anything specific, like a niche, that kind of is interesting to you, just on a personal note?
If I have a personal interest for any of these monetary systems or any of these communities, is that what you're asking?
Well, for me, one of the big ones right now was the recycling one. That gets me giddy. But then the other one is 3D printing and maker societies. I think those people having cryptocurrencies of their own is a very powerful thing too. are there any specific places where you kind of get extra giddy?
Yeah, that's a very good question. So actually, so the first point of connection to this project that I had before joining it was actually this recycling project, this project that fosters both recycling and, by the way, plastics being received at the centers are aimed at becoming inputs for 3D printing, for the 3D printing industry. That's how they get the cash back. So that project really triggered me. My background is in engineering leadership of circular economy projects. So I really see a huge opportunity there and a way for making it happen, and not just if you are a good citizen, as we were talking before, but because it makes sense and because you did the math and you build good and robust circuits. So that project, I actually really like that circuit. And the other one, so I really like the shop local one. So I was born and raised in Buenos Aires, Argentina, where you have all these local shops, these places where you can get your grains, your cereals, and all those things. And then I went to live to the US for a couple of years, and I was astonished by all these so the only option that you had was, in the city where I lived, was to go to very big retail places. So you have the huge supermarkets, and you don't get this, I don't know, this freedom to choose this natural looking products, or you were to Whole Foods where you have all this very expensive stuff, and you know that they don't cost what you see. So I was just feeling like I really need these shops, because of my way of living, and I really want to foster this people that are just opening their stores and they just want to sell what they know how to do, they know how to build, and that's a way of building the local community. So I just have a sense that needs to be kept alive, and I just feel that hacking Groupon is a way for doing that, So I also really like that system.
Well, I can tell you for a fact that if you guys have a Groupon for cryptocurrency, that's probably the easiest way I'll ever get my mom into cryptocurrency. Just throwing it out there. I mean, we're talking about mass adoption, guys. And one other lucky fact is that it won't die like cryptocurrency, like CryptoKitties did. Just another thing, these are, and I like a joke, and it seems kind of mean that I say it, but guys, how mean is it if you're holding CryptoKitty and you were and you bought it for like $4,000 because you thought it made sense, and the project couldn't even get off its feet? I mean, right now, what Marina is talking about is trying people in countries like Argentina, where it's hard to put food on the table and feed children, let alone yourselves as an adult, or elderly loved ones, and medical care, and all these things that, like we were talking about earlier before we started. Venezuela right now has a GDP that is less than the value of the GDP of World of Warcraft gold. So these are the types of things that it's not something that we play around with, and that we should play around with. These things can scale right now. But if we use the wrong platforms, and we get people who are in these third world countries or in second world countries and anywhere in the world really, who are using a platform that is not ready for it, it harms them. And then it also harms the reputation of cryptocurrency. So I want to make it very clear that the things that are possible that Marina and I are talking about, and that all of the people in this group are talking about tonight, it's very important to recognize that this is possible on scalable ecosystems, and that it really does. It's not just CryptoKitties, it's people's livelihoods in a lot of these places. So the solutions that you guys are working toward, I'm so happy to see it. I know you guys also have Almato on your team, right?
So Matthias started this project. He was our former CDO, and then he was an advisor, and now he's too committed to, he was a core developer of EOS. He's not actively participating anymore, but he was one of the core founders, and a very important piece for the team.
Well, I will say personally that Marina, we have something in common. He's basically the CTO of the Whale Shares. He created Whale Shares, the cross-platform token system that we use. I obviously had the idea and brought it to him and discussed it with him, but it sounds to me like he's getting very interested in the things that I've been talking about and that we've been talking about for some time. And you guys are, it's so great to see you guys are doing some really cool things. Now, I do want to ask you one more question because I didn't get a chance to ask it yet. But when you're talking about the value feedback loops that you like to create, I couldn't help find myself wondering if you engineer these value ecosystems where the value stays there internally. Were you ever a gamer growing up?
If I was a gamer?
Yeah, it's perhaps an interesting.
I was until the age of 17 before it ruined my life for longer.
You see, I just want to tell you guys this stuff because this, like, I keep saying these things, but it's like it's not always true. But generally speaking, that's what I keep finding more and more, that it is gamers and people who grew up understanding this stuff intuitively, right? Because you lived it, right? All those games that you thought you wasted your time on, I suspect probably made you a doctorate in this stuff almost before you end up reading a book, right? But to a large degree, that's gaming companies hire psychologists and behavioral economics specialists to literally build new economies. And that's why I believe that we're in this place where these token ecosystems are right at a time where we're reaching a pain point, and all the gamers out there who grew up doing like what you said, Marina, which is, what did you say? They ruined my life up until 17 or something to that effect.
That's correct. Yeah. Your intuition is too funny.
Well, I remember at one point in time telling my family, I think that I've wasted all my time gaming and I could have had my doctorate in psych already, and I'm still working on my bachelor's. That's what I remember telling them back in the day. And then later on, after finding out about cryptocurrency, I realized I would have never realized the value of this stuff had I not done these things, right? So it's very interesting how life turns out. But I don't want to get too much deeper into it other than to say that these are really powerful concepts. I don't think that, you guys have a bunch of templates that you're talking about. But that's obviously, you guys are very well aware this is a small subset of what's possible across a whole spectrum of this new economy that's coming. And
that's absolutely correct. Yeah, we have this kind of multi-sided platform. So we are targeting both the game developers and the gamers, you know what I mean? So we are also targeting these people that are already contributing a lot to the community's to the complementary currencies world. We want them to contribute to an open source platform where any community can take value out of it, and not just contributing to a customized software for two communities.
Yeah, it's quite amazing to see like how these things are all lining up. And one of the things that they talked about real early on, I think it was Brendan Bloomer who was saying it when they first were announcing EOS, was that now incentives can align more correctly. And I think that that's something that I'd probably want to just end on because I don't think it can be said any better, is that we can align these better. And if you are able to voluntarily associate with these different projects or abandon them because they are evil in your eyes, or, and we have a free market where everybody can participate in them, I think that's where we find the answers to what we need. So I look forward to working with you guys, and I look forward to covering it more with you guys. And Marina, if you would like, feel free to let your CTO know. Of course, let him know or her know that we hope that they get better, because I know that they're not feeling very well. But they're more than welcome also to join and give the technical side to this anytime. And I will personally vouch for Almato. I love the guy. He's been around to help me quite a bit.
Thank you. Yeah, I will let him know, and love to RSVP again in the post for future Saturdays to get more into the technical stuff.
I would love it. And real quick, if anybody wants to reach out to you guys, they want to participate in any of the things that you're doing, or just ask you how they could help, how would they be able to?
Yeah, so we would love to learn about that through our Telegram channel. That's the best way for any person that wants to contribute. By the way, we are also looking for some profiles that are posted in our website. I think it's under co-found us. Yeah, I think it's that button. But in any case, you can reach us out in our Telegram channel, and we would love to learn about your questions, your doubts, whatever flaws you may see in the white paper, whatever doesn't make sense or it makes great sense, or if you want to contribute, we will love to learn anything in our Telegram channel. You're free to do that.
Awesome. And I would love if you guys could get us your Telegram, or maybe I can on your site. I would love to join it myself and be part of the discussion. Anywhere where people are discussing these things. I grew up in BitShares, and I've always loved BitShares, and I would just want to make clear that you guys even chose BitShares as your platform when you were preparing all this stuff. But I'm also very much into, I always tell people, I don't think we want one chain to rule them all. That's not what we were here to build. What we were here to build is a republic of chains that all offer various services and local governance that each community can create, and they can be part of all those things if they want, or just a couple of them. But whatever they choose, it's their choice. It's not forced on them. So with that said, I appreciate all of you guys who make this possible. I love the fact that Waba is trying to find solutions to these problems too, because let's face it, guys, ultimately, the problems that we are facing and the problems that I'm trying to figure out with a bunch of good people, all of you guys are part of them. We're doing this for bigger things than just ourselves and for money, right? There are really big issues that we need to figure out. And I don't have all the answers. None of you guys have all the answers, but together we can find the best answers, and we can figure those out, and we can maybe create something better for the generations coming after us. My little boy, maybe he can live in a freer world than he does today if we do it right. So with that said, I thank you guys all. If you don't mind, real quick, guys, could you put up, there's just one thing I want to close off on tonight, because we do talk a lot about EOS. There's something that was made, that I was made aware of. It's called kingofeos.com. If you guys could pop kingofeos.com up real quick. I just want to warn everybody who, like, if there's anybody out there who's got a bunch of tokens, there's one thing that I just want to say about this, that you might, if you're a big gambler, that's fine. But if you're not a big gambler, the site itself might be something that you want to be careful about. You see on there, there's a certain account and maybe a couple accounts that keep seeming to bid up. And if you're the creator of the contract and you're paying a contract and you have a separate account that's paying a contract, you can make it look like somebody is just a big whale who wants to be the king of EOS. And you can be going against somebody who's literally funding themselves and able to recycle that. So be very careful with these types of things. I'm not saying that's what's happening, but if you're throwing EOS at things, I personally think there are better things to throw your EOS at this stage. With that said, I do see a lot of people talking about it in the space right now, and I'm not putting the contract down. I'm just saying be careful. This is the Wild West still, guys, and I think that it's a good thing that it's kind of the Wild West, and we all have to be responsible and think about this on our own. But at the same time, we want to make it very clear that there are projects like this and eDNA where they're trying to focus on making it so the DNA that you have is yours and you own it and nobody else does. So governments holding a bunch of your records on DNA without you being able to do anything about it. These types of things, like these are huge things. We've got things like Project Mailbox where you're going to be able to reward people for helping find missing persons. There are so many things that you guys can invest in or reward or donate to, however you want to call it. These are the types of things that we can do to create value, real value, and not only create value, but show people how damn valuable it is. So we don't even have to tell them about it. We just show them. And then we walk away and drop the mic. If it becomes that good that I don't ever have to even speak a word to show this stuff to people, hey, I'll retire gladly. Now, with that said, thank you guys for being here. I know that I don't talk about price all the time. We don't always go to the places like, when are you going to make thousands and millions of dollars? Ironically, I have a pretty good, I've never done that. So just something to keep in mind as you guys go through the crypto scene. You can do things, at least trying to do things that way, and do well for yourself. That said, thank you guys for joining up. We will see you guys during the after party and then, of course, next Saturday. EOS Talk has been here since the beginning. We continue to work to bring more value to you guys through the Beyond Bitcoin network, and I look forward to adding more people. And thank you, of course, to our special guest, Marina, tonight from the Waba.Network. Have a good one, guys.
Thanks to you. Thank you. And we love to see this community is also working for future generations with blockchain. We love it. Thank you very much for inviting us.